Of course, it's 4 o'clock on Thursday, which means it's time for the most motivational segment in all of sports. It's the Bud List. It is also time, Stink, where we take a little time out, a little break on the show and read some viewer mail. For the year 2023, we get tons of mail, and we always are willing to answer your questions and concerns. Dear Wilds, love the show. Why, thank you. I missed the A block while shopping for Ryan and Brian. Are you done discussing Miami and Dallas? Happy holidays, Dawn. So I think we are, according to the rundown. I'll just get you caught up to speed. Mike McDaniel said, narrative-wise, he wants to stay focused. But you look at the Cowboys on the road, 0-3. If you look at Dolphins overall,
I thought we fixed
0-3.
the picture. First of all, behind the curtains, audience, Wiles came into my office about an hour and a half ago and said, Brew, we're retiring the cowboy bit. That's what he told me.
Yeah, because Dusty's.
And you just flat out betrayed me. Now, where's the real cowboy? Stink, we did a picture of me. I was tired of this when I said, look, I want the real one. And we took it before they won't put it up. We took a real photo before the show.
Access to every graphic.
And I had the flex and all that. But anyway, we'll get that up next week. All right. The Bud List
time.
It's the MVP edition.
Oh.
So number 3, Cadarius Tony. And you're like, okay, what in the world does he have to do with MVP? A lot. Because he's basically taken the best quarterback in the league out of the MVP race. You and I predicted Mahomes would be the MVP this year. Cadarius has cost them 2 games with his drops or just boneheaded penalties. And if they are 11-3 instead of 9-5, and if Patrick Mahomes has a couple of less interceptions, then he's right smack dab in the middle of maybe winning his 3rd straight MVP.
Hard to beat Joe Montana close with Lamar
So
Jackson.
there's that. Now, Kadarius, the Bud List is about motivation and inspiration. So I'm going to give you some advice. It's going to help Nick's team, but hey, it is what it is. I want to help you, man. Now, look. Stink will know this. They used back in the day when you had a fumble problem. Fumbling, you used to always have to carry the football around. All right. So Kadarius, I want you to go get a football from practice and carry it around for the rest of the season. All right. When you go to the supermarket, you got your football. When you go to the club and do your thing, you got your football. When you take a shower, put a plastic bag over it and hold this football. In fact, when you do your video in a day or 2, excommunicating Wilds from Chiefs Kingdom, hold your football. All right? Don't do that. Feel it. Make it become one with it. Grab it. And this will help you, Cadarius Tony. All right.
That's good.
I like you. I don't know how much I believe in you, but I like you, so I'm going to try to believe in you. All right, at number 2, this is where we really get into the MVP stuff.
Here we go.
Dak and Tua. Now, both of them are on the periphery. Dak was leading a week ago, all right, but obviously a bad game against Buffalo. And now you and Tua are on the periphery, him more so than you. But if both of you have huge games, you could get right back in this thing, especially if Lamar and Brock struggle in their game. And here's what you both have things to prove. This is why you're on the periphery. You can't beat winning teams, but good luck. Good news is one of you is probably going to win against a winning team this weekend. Look at the drop in your performance against teams that have winning records versus teams that have 500 or lower. These are two of the best quarterbacks in the league, supposedly, and yet they both are 1-4 in dropping against the competition in terms of their performance passer rating. So, Dak on the road, you can prove that you can beat a good team and win on the road. So, Dak, you really could get back in this thing if Brock Purdy and Lamar struggle in their next game. And Tua, who knows? Tyreek, look, he practiced today. Maybe he'll play. But if he doesn't, you were good last week without him. You got a chance to hop back in this thing, too. All right, at number 1, Brock Purdy and Lamar Jackson. This is really it. This is really, you guys are 1-2 in the MVP race. And this could determine, I think it's tight, and I think other guys are kind of lurking. But if one of you plays great and wins this game, then you could go a long way in maybe wrapping up the MVP So this will be huge. Now, Brock does his thing statistically. Those are eye-popping. Lamar, you do it by controlling the game and the eye test and watching how you do. And look, you both are playing the top 2 defenses in the league. So if you play great in this game, it will go a long way in determining MVP. I actually believe in both of you. One of you is going to the Super Bowl. Congratulations, Lamar. The other, you're getting close, all right? Okay. But Philly is tough. So that's this week's Bud list.
Well, excellent. I think that was excellent. By the way, I've got a tiebreaker. If they end in a tie for the MVP, we could use that 10-yard sprint.
Oh, yeah.
Winning the 10-yard sprint wins the MVP.
It'll be a close one.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a dead heat.
That's right.
A dead
right
heat.
there with Lamar.
So we could do that. All right, so I am going to go to a guy that there are a lot of question marks about. Right now, if he was on trial, the jury would take about 5 seconds to deliberate and say, we don't think he can play. And that is Bryce Young. Bryce Young sometimes looks like he's throwing a medicine ball out there. Like the ball is heavier than him. But I'm going to tell you something. I saw something last week. I'm calling the Carolina-Atlanta game. At the very end of the game, they have not done anything offensively. Bryce Young goes 5 for 5, 68 yards, 13.6 yards per pass attempt, and had a passer rating of 118.8 at the end of the game.
What was it?
I'm telling you what. He drove them down with poise. Intangible-wise, he's awesome. But you also have to have some tangibles. And we hadn't seen any tangibles up until that point during the course of a game. So good for Bryce Young, but this game is not being about, having tangible skills one weekend out of 18 or 17. Right. It's about back to back to back. It's about stacking games together. So, Bryce, congratulations. That was an excellent victory in a rainstorm last week. Let's see if he can stack it together this week.
Wow. That's pretty good.
I like that. I like Bryce Young being on there. As Nick knows, I love C.J. Stroud coming out of the draft. I'm not surprised he's better, but I'm not going to fully give up on Bryce. A lot of guys have struggled early. Sure. So, I like that. We're going to motivate him.
I think everybody probably roots for him, and it's too early to give up on him. The last week was, I agree with you, Sink, the first time you saw even the littlest thing to build on, see if you can build on it. All right, before I show you who's on the Bud list, there's a matchup this weekend involving 2 of the best receivers in football that has not been discussed on any show in any way. And I wonder, because it's the holidays, because it's Christmas, and I'm going to show Stink now how to do an actual blind reveal where there's real suspense. So here's 2 receivers from this season. And so the guy on the left has 200 more yards, but on 56 more targets. Their yards per reception are almost identical. Their receiving touchdowns, the guy on the right is ahead. So I don't know how you feel, if it would be a wash, what it would be, but they play each other this weekend, so let's discuss it. That is, of course, Devonte Adams and Rashee Rice. And so I am putting Devonte Adams on the Bud list because Devonte Adams right now is staring at the tail end of the prime of his career, and he is going to be staring across the field this weekend at a team that in the offseason, despite having Rashee Rice, well, maybe actually not despite, because they have Rashee Rice, is looking for a maybe overqualified number 2 receiver next year. And Devonte Adams' contract seems ominous, seems looming.
Yep.
But it's not. Next year it's $17 million, and the final 2 years are totally fake. They're $35 million and $35 million for the next 2. So for the Raiders, if they are actually going to be grown-ups and try to rebuild, will they be willing to trade Devonte Adams? Would they be willing to trade Devonte Adams within the division? And maybe most notably, will Devonte Adams say, I'm not having fun here, because I'm going to show you a different Devonte Adams stat. Since that, remember when things seemed to be going well for the Raiders, but he wasn't getting the ball?
Yeah.
Since then, since week 5, he has 51 catches, 500 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a total fair comparison since week 5. So if you are putting up production of a rookie wide receiver that I like, but is not a star in this league, and you are still, I think he believes, the best receiver in football, and you're going to stare across the field this weekend, the team that has a great quarterback, you used to have one of those, you're going to be going in with Aiden O'Connell. So I wonder how Devonte Adams is going to register at the end of this season, the pending coaching change, the quarterback situation in Las Vegas.
That was interesting. That was a pitch to
more
get
of a
Devonte,
Yeah.
which I'm not mad at you.
What do you mean?
I'd love to see him
What do you mean?
in Kansas City.
He could learn a lot from Rasheed.
But did you start off saying the two best receivers?
No,
in
I
the
said
league?
two of the best.
Rasheed Rice is now one of the best.
Well, I mean,
receivers in the
is
league.
Devonte Adams?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean,
It's
then
not all
the-
numbers.
the-
It's
the-
not all
it's
numbers.
a-
Rasheed Rice is not. Now I like his future,
Eye test.
but no, he
Eye
is
test,
not
pretty good.
one of
Eye
the
test.
best receivers in the
He left
league.
you open there. Why would you need Devonte Adams?
Well, you could
I
be-
thought
good to
the
have
wide
two.
receivers were.
Yeah, it's good to have two.
You got two passes.
You got Devontae number 2.
Need
Guess
three?
what?
I mean,
Rasheed would be
Travis
number
might be
2.
on tour next year. Who
Okay,
knows?
Travis is just fine. All right, so I'm going off the board here. I'm putting Christmas presents on. You know, when I was growing up, I saw Dan Marino give his offensive linemen and running backs just a pair of gloves and said, you know what? Happy birthday, fellas.
Isotoner.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
happy Christmas.
Beautiful.
Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas. No, Merry Christmas. Now, started out with Trevor Lawrence. He didn't have a cart in all of Jacksonville. He had to limp all the way back to the locker room in the medical tent. So he said, LOL, I'll get everybody some golf carts. And then Patrick Mahomes said that, okay, I will see your golf cart and raise you a cooler golf cart with nicer rims.
True.
So now there's a bunch of other quarterbacks in the league like, oh, jeez. A lot of these guys are backups. Poor Joe Flacco just got there. Like, what do I got to get these guys? I'm playing great, might get comeback player of the year. I'm just making $4 million, I think. So, Stink, I also wanted to toss it to you for a quick story time.
Yeah.
If I am Jake Browning, if I am Joe Flacco, if I'm, I don't know, who's starting for the Vikings?
Gardner
now?
Minshew.
Gardner
Colts.
Minshew's a better example.
yeah.
What are you expecting as my lineman? I'm not the franchise guy.
Right,
I'm
right.
kind of just in there.
Yeah, so I think, we have us hog mollies at the end of the year. We have a little offensive line kind of dinner.
Yeah.
Like, hey, great year, guys. Maybe just throw a few bucks into the pot,
how
into the
much?
kitty.
How much?
For Gardner Minshew, maybe $6,000.
$6,000.
Right, he's paying
Yeah.
for the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
Right, essentially, yeah.
Mahomes,
you're
those things
buying-
cost like $9,000 a piece.
Yeah,
you bought a lot of them.
Right, yeah, but you're buying the golf carts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those golf carts that Mahomes, those are $20,000+ a piece.
$20,000.
Yeah, he's a
I
good guy.
guarantee.
You're not getting off with just a dinner.
Yeah, I guarantee you.
He's a good
20
guy.
grand? There better be $10,000 in the seat.
I guarantee you.
Elway
they're
ever
over
get you
20.
one of those?
No, Elway used to.
20 grand.
Elway used to come in with a lot of cash for our
pretty good.
I'm getting Josh a Starbucks
For
gift
dinner?
card.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.